Hey Girl Scouts, I'm Holly. I'm a girl event specialist and I work for the Girl Scouts Wisconsin Southeast, located in Wisconsin, in the southeast corner near Lake Michigan. I am here today to help you earn your Cadette Book Artist Badge. There are 5 steps to earning this badge. We're going to do step number 3, which is to try out a book artist technique. This activity will probably take you less than 30 minutes. But before we get started, you will need to gather some materials. So let me tell you what you need, and then you can gather them, and we'll get started making your book. The project we're going to be making is a paper bag journal. You're actually going to do an actual bookbinding technique to bind your journal together. The materials you need to do this activity are scissors, a needle and thread, a large safety pin, 5 sheets of white paper, a paper bag, a ruler is helpful, a pencil, and some kind of embroidery floss, twine, or heavy, a little bit stronger cording to use as your binding material. To begin with, you're going to take your 5 pieces of white paper and you're going to cut those in half. You can fold them in half, and that gives you a guideline of where you want to cut them. If you have a cutter, you can use that. That's probably the best. You can use a scissors, or you can even just hold a ruler in place. And tear your 5 pieces of paper. Now I have my 5 pieces. I'm going to need to cut out the brown paper bag to make my cover. Simple way to do it is you can either measure, since the paper I was using was 8.5 by 11 size, then I would need paper about 4.25 by 5.5. Another even simpler way is just to trace around it and cut it. I would suggest you cut it a little bit larger so it would hang over the edge of the paper. And just maybe go a fraction over the outer line edge that you drew. Again, if you have a paper cutter, it will give you a nice, clean, straight line. Here's my cover. So I'm going to take my sheets of paper, line them up inside my cover, and give it all a fold. Now if you notice your papers stick out a little bit, you can always give them a little bit of a trim, which mine do. I'm going to refold the paper just to make sure I did it. There's the problem. Got it. All right, the next step is you're prepared to bind. You're going to need to have your large pin now. I found the best way to do this is you want to make 5 holes. So if I took my ruler, I could just mark to get my holes even. And I just made them at the 1-inch mark, the 2-inch mark, the 3-inch mark, the 4-inch mark, and the 5-inch mark. So starting at the top, mark 1 inch for each spot. Then you take your pin, insert it into there, into each hole, and I give it a little bit of a twist to make my hole big enough. because this is where I will be sewing my binding together. Now you need to do that with your papers. So I'll put my papers inside. You can try it with all 5. If it's difficult, take a few out and do a few at a time. Beware of your fingers as you're punching through, so you don't punch through and hit your fingers. Now, to help you in the sewing process, I've labeled my holes 1 through 5. We'll be starting at the center hole, then going to the 2, 3, 4, and 5. You're going to need to have your needle and thread. So thread your needle, and then to put a knot on the end, I just twist it around my finger and roll it off, and then pull the knot down to give you a nice little knot. If you feel that's gonna be a little bit small and come through your hole, you can do another one. All right, I have my needle and thread ready to go. I have my book prepared. I'm going to start by going from the inside of the book in hole number 1. I'm going to punch it through all my paper and the cover and pull it through. For now, my next one, I'm on the outside of the book, so I'm going to go in the next hole towards the left, which would be my hole number 2 if I look on the inside. Twist it, pull. My next hole will be 3 on the inside. I'm going to go down into 3. Now I'm going to start backtracking. So I'm going to go back from this side, back into hole number 2, from the outside of the book to the inside of the book, which created a stitch on the outside. You'll notice we're going inside, outside, inside, which now I'll go from 2 into 1. I'm going to go down into the 1. I'm going to turn the book, and I'm going to go into the number 4 hole on the outside. This one, my holes got off a little bit. There we go. 4. Now I'm going to go down into the number 5 hole from the inside of the book to the outside of the book. Now I'm going to backtrack again from the 5 to the 4, going over to the left. My final hole, I'm going back into the 1, and I'm ending up on the outside of my journal. Now what I'm going to do is make a simple knot. So I'm going to go under a couple of the threads. I've already made these stitches in my book. Pull it till there's a little loop. Loop my needle through my loop. I'll do it again. I'm going to go under the stitches. Pull my needle till there's a loop. Bring the needle up through the loop and pull it. I'm just going to bring the thread back to the inside of the book so I will not have that showing on the outside. And I'm going to do that same kind of knot on the inside. I bring my needle under the threads. I have a loop, put my needle through the loop, pull. You can do it one more time under the threads, under the loop. I have done a little loop that's too big, but that's not a problem because I can trim it all off. I'm going to just trim my ends. Clean up my knot. There. My book is bound. It's a little harder to see because I've used a brown thread, but then again, when I have my book together, you won't even notice it, as when I showed you my finished book. It didn't distract from my design. If you worry about your hole, you can always put a dab of glue on. Now, I have a journal that's complete. Since we used 5 pieces of paper, I have 10 pages in my journal. Now, if I have writing on the inside, or I want to decorate the outside, I can gather those materials. Did you enjoy binding your book together? Did you learn anything new about bookbinding? Have you ever tried to bind a book? What techniques have you used if you've bound a book? If you enjoy doing this and like to try some other fun activities, I encourage you to look at your Cadette Book Artist badge and try the other activities to earn the badge. They include exploring the art of bookbinding, get familiar with the inside of a book, try out book artist technique is what we did, focus on function, and focus on style. If you enjoyed today and you'd like to learn more and try more activities, go to the GSY's homepage for more fun activities like this. And if you're not a Girl Scout and you'd like to learn more about us, go to girlscouts.org. I hope you had fun today. Have a great day. See you next time. Bye-bye. If you enjoyed today's activity and you want to learn more and try more activities, I encourage you to go to the GSY's homepage for more fun activities just like this. And if you're not a Girl Scout and you'd like to join us, go to girlscouts.org to learn more about it. I hope you had a fun time. Thanks for joining me. Until next time, go out and make it a great day. Bye-bye.